Alright then, my friends, hope you're getting what we've been doing so far. And right now in this video we're going to be looking at access modifiers. So if you notice, we'll be using something public. We'll be using public. What does this public actually stand for? Okay, we actually have three access modifiers in our object programming. What they actually does is they restrict how informations are being accessed or data are being accessed in your object. Okay, so this is a public. That means whatever we set to public, we've set this property to a public, and we set this methods to public. That means this method can actually be accessed anywhere within our application. That means if I actually use this as an heritage, I actually extend from this object right there or from this class right there, I can have access to this method from anywhere within our application. Okay, we actually have three types, so let's just go ahead and actually see how those three types actually work. So let's just call this access.php. Okay, so let's just go ahead and say so let's just go ahead and call this class. Okay, and this will be access, right? So the first one we want to look at is public. So what is public? I'll explain what public does. So public name is equal to, let's say, code it me. Okay, we've explained what public actually does. Okay, so for public is a property that can be accessed anywhere, and this is by default. Okay, it's actually been applied by default. It can be accessed anywhere, and I've explained that. The next thing we need to look at is the protected. Okay, the protected property. What a protected property does is that any method or public that is being protected can only be accessed within the class and the class that actually extends from it. Okay, let me just repeat this. Any method or property that is actually being protected can only be accessed within the class or any class that is actually inheriting from the class. Okay, so probably when we get to inheritance, you guys will actually understand this better. So let's just go ahead and say $name. Let's just give this color to be green. Okay, and the next thing we need, the last access, is the private. Okay, and this is very straightforward. It just means that the method or the properties can only be accessed within this class. That's just what that means. And let's just call this age to be equal to probably 18. Okay, so let's just give a new instance of this. You can see this has actually been it's not actually been showed. So let's just give a new instance of this and actually see how this will work out. So let's just call this access, and let's say a new access. Okay, so let's just go ahead and say $sign access. I want to access the name, so let's just go ahead and echo out the name. Okay, so let's go back to our browser and let's refresh. Let's see access, and you can see the name right here. So let's do the same thing for age, and let's see. And if we should refresh, you can see we can't actually access this age because it's actually private. We can only use it within this block of code, which is within this class. Let's do the same thing to color, and let's see color. Okay, let's see color, and let's refresh. This cannot be accessed because it's actually being protected, and it can only be accessed within this right here. Okay, so to actually access, probably we want to access a color, so we can just define the public method. Okay, this will be public method, and we can call this my color. Okay, and right here we can just return this, and we can say color. Okay, and right here let's just echo out my color, and if we should refresh now, you can see we can access that, and that's because this is within this class. Okay, and we can do the same thing for age. So let's just go ahead and refresh. Let's refresh again. You can see the age right there. Okay, and the reason why we have access to the protected and the private is because this is still within this class right here. Okay, so let's go back, and yeah, so let's refresh, and this is still an error, so let's just go back. Let's just have this, and let's just call this name. So let's refresh. Yeah, so we have our name right here. So that's all for access modifiers, and I'll see you next video, guys.